Sir David Jason has helped create some of our favourite TV moments. An actor blessed with comic genius.
One raspberry super bumper. Pick it up quick, you'll get it down your jumper.
He has a likeable everyman quality, and that's supported by a massive amount of skill and technique.
Play it nice and cool, son.
He was born with the ability to tickle the funny bones of a nation. And a journey back in time reveals that without one twist of fate, none of us would have heard the name David Jason at all. Friday the 2nd of February 1940, the height of the Second World War. In an era of air raid sirens, gas masks and food rations, a future acting great would make his grand entrance into the world. Seen here as a toddler in this family photo, back then, his surname wasn't Jason.
He was born David White in North London. He was a twin, and the other twin died at birth. Very, very working-class family. His dad worked at Billingsgate. And in fact, his dad encountered quite a few of the characters that also informed David Jason's interpretation of Derek Trotter.
His mother was a very, very good mother and very warm and very supportive of David. Very supportive. David had these two pals who were similarly short of stature. They called themselves the Short Houses. Quite happy to mock themselves for their lack of height, and they became very much a gang, getting up to all sorts.
Official records show those early escapades would see young David dragged before the juvenile courts for stealing 5 pieces of lead piping. Naughty boy. By chance, he was cast in a school play. It ignited the acting bug, which he talked about on Desert Island Discs.
The boy who was playing one of the leading parts got the measles. So the headmaster said to me, you can do this part, it's a funny part, because I was the school idiot, you know. I was always running around making everybody laugh and being the buffoon, generally. The story really was that I did it, and it was a packed school. We did it for 3 nights, I think. But when I started to hear, like, 75 people laugh, so 100, whatever it was, parents, now that was much better than 20 or 30-odd kids. And I think that started it all.
From that moment, Sir David was hooked. Pictured here at a white family gathering, his brother Arthur was the first to become an actor. But the idea of having 2 sons go into the profession didn't go down too well with his mum and dad.
I think they were probably a little bit nervous about having 2 of their children working in a precarious industry like theatre. So they insisted he learnt a trade, which is when he became an electrician.
But being an actor would always come first, eventually seeing him make his amateur dramatic stage debut at the Incognito Theatre in Barnet, North London. John Savage spent much of his childhood backstage and is now the theatre's manager.
The door I've just come through would have been walked through by David Jason when he first came here about 66 years ago, when he was invited along to audition. Not a lot has changed in all those years. We've still got 64 reupholstered ex-cinema seats, and the stage almost exactly as it was then. One of our members who ran our youth section here very neatly said, there's quite a lot of girls in the group, but we're short of boys, David. So David thought, right, when you're 14 and there's not much to do in 1954 North Finchley, an invitation to a place when there's lots of other young people there, particularly some young girls, was clearly something that he relished.
Actress Carol Boyd, of later Archer's fame, joined the theatre a few years after Sir David and has vivid memories of her early encounters with the maturing young actor.
He was sparky, he was funny, and he was sexy. He acted everybody else off the stage. And that was it. We were all madly in love with him. And I'm quite sure David had his pick of any of the ladies who admired him and the men who were probably quite jealous of him.
Despite all the female attention, it was acting that would become David White's first love.
I remember him particularly well, and this is very personal, because I saw him acting with my father, and that would have been in the mid-1960s. I don't imagine that then anyone saw the star quality, but they could see the talent.
Local reviewers were saying, you know, you're really quite good, you know, you should do this professionally. And he toured everywhere around the UK, learning the craft.
Equity rules saw David White adopt the stage name David Jason, inspired by his favourite childhood book, Jason and the Argonauts. Though the young performer struck a confident figure on stage, he secretly battled his acting inner demons.
I had no self-esteem. I was never, ever good enough. I wanted to be an actor, certainly I burned with it. But everybody around me, everybody was much better than me. Everyone.
He gave himself up until the age of 30 to make it as an actor. If not, he would go back to being an electrician. If he hadn't made it, it's quite possible that he would be an electrician to this day.
Despite lacking confidence, Sir David Jason would have a fine stage career, seeing him star in the West End hit No Sex Please, We're British.
He took over from Michael Crawford, who was very, very well-known actor at the time. Can you imagine taking over a leading role in a major West End play? I mean, that takes a lot of guts, but David Jason took it in his stride.
I would say he was driven. He was driven by his need to be an actor. It wasn't enough to say, I want to. It was a need, and that's why he has been so successful.
Sir David would eventually transfer on-stage success to radio, using his famed ability for mimicry to impersonate the famous figures of the 1970s on the BBC radio satirical series Week Ending.
I used to do Callaghan, Mr. Callaghan, when he was Prime Minister. I remember he was walking across Trafalgar Square after he lost the election. He looked up at the pigeons, he said, "Go on then, might as well, everybody else has."
Vocally, he's a transformer. You know, you think, well, what? That was you? You know, how extraordinary. Whereas other people with distinctive voices think, oh, that's old thing again, you know. But David's a chameleon.
In time, Sir David would become the man of 1,000 voices, featuring off-screen in the BBC hit comedy series The Two Ronnies as the mysterious Phantom Raspberry Blower. The Madcap sketch making him an instant hit with viewers, even if they didn't realise it at the time.
Funnily enough, I didn't recognise David Jason blowing a raspberry. I can't think why not, actually, because it's probably quite a familiar sound.
Here, I want a word with you.
David Jason does a fantastic raspberry. It's very, very good as raspberries go.
He's the greatest, he's fantastic. Wherever there is danger, he'll be there.
But when it comes to his voice, there's one character for which he will be forever remembered.
Danger Mouse. Astounding.
Danger Mouse was one of the most popular animated series of the 80s, seeing Sir David provide the voice of the intrepid rodent secret agent.
Oh, now it's my turn for a little entertainment.
Millions of kids around the country used to run home from school to catch Danger Mouse. No, I did. Absolutely loved it.
Count Dracula, the actor. Now, please, Hamlet.
He also played Count Duckula,
Or Yorick.
seeing the actor have scenes with himself.
Horatio, oh, that's not brilliant. Look, I don't know how to say this, but I don't think television is quite ready for you yet.
It's sharp, it's funny, it's utterly unlike him. I love Danger Mouse.
Now, you get some shut-eye, Penfold, and maybe the weather will be better in the morning. Crumbs, Chief, I hope so.
Behind the scenes in the voice studio, Sir David Jason was joined by established stars such as Terry Scott, giving the series comedic kudos rarely seen in children's animation.
Those are your feet, Penfold.
Occasionally, when he does the voice, it just takes you straight back to your childhood.
You mean that wasn't you snoring, Penfold? No, sir. Could be the central heating. Come on, let's have a look round.
Danger Mouse. You know, if he was a person, it would be a household name.
Danger Mouse, how do you feel about being the star of this series?
To get some upset.
Well, I mean, I think that's
you shouldn't do that.
Sir David would go on to form a lasting relationship with the show's producers, Cosgrove Hall,
Aha! Hello, Toad.
making him a star for a whole generation of children.
Hello, Moo. Hooray! This is splendid.
David Jason is the voice of Toad Hall in Wind of the Willows. He had this whole kind of other career going on, if you like, through the animations, and a younger generation getting to know him that way before perhaps they went on to see one of the repeats of Only Fools and Horses or Open All Hours.
In time, Sir David Jason's comedic skills would see him transform from talented voice actor to all-time great, delivering unforgettable TV gems.
You like those, don't you?
Aye, lovely.
Yeah, put your money in the till.